Welcome to the Extracts of What Are You Doing with Your Life by Jiddu Krishnamurti. Explore answers to some of life's most difficult questions. Introduction.
Most of us have wondered, at some time in our lives, what the goal of life is. Perhaps you've questioned, aloud or to yourself, how some individuals manage to maintain their happiness. Perhaps you've reflected on societal problems and considered potential remedies. These extracts include some replies to these fundamental concerns. What you won't find are simple solutions. In fact, you're more likely to find certain things here disturbing and provocative. For example, suppose sustained happiness does not exist. What if seeking for a meaning in life is the incorrect approach? What follows will both challenge and inspire you.
Before we begin, we publish new content every week, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about the latest extracts. Our videos can be a bit longer sometimes because we never compromise on the content of the book and video. Therefore, it's important to watch the video till the end. Let's get started.
Extract 1. Your conditioning prevents you from seeing things as they really are. Consider your perception of the world for a moment. Take, for example, how you see love. You were exposed to notions about love from the minute you were born, and they affected the way you thought about it. Perhaps a photo of a happy couple on their wedding day, or a bouquet of flowers delivered as a surprise gift, exemplifies affection for you. Whatever your social, economic, and cultural background, you've been conditioned to perceive love in a certain manner. This, however, implies that your viewpoint may be quite limited, and the intricate truth of love may be lost on you. The main point here is that your conditioning prevents you from perceiving things as they are. Your indoctrination prevents you from seeing the world in all of its complexities. Life is continuously in flux, yet you tend to conceive of it as permanent because of how you experience the world. Your cultural heritage, belief systems, and dogma bind your thoughts. To see how life changes and grows, you must be able to shift your thinking and your viewpoint as well. You won't notice the big picture if you don't pay attention to life's subtle, constant changes. You'll only see your own little, unchanging photo. For example, if you were to see a flower blossom and change, your description of it would alter from day to day if you were being true about it. Life is similar in that it demands close attention. To see life more clearly, you must liberate your mind from all the huge ideas and systems that attempt to explain it in its entirety. This is the difficult part. Perhaps you consider yourself a socialist, a capitalist, a Christian, or a Hindu. If you follow an ideology or religion, you will be obliged to conform to your viewpoint, even if what they are telling you violates your belief system. So, how do you tune into the world? You must pay close attention to how your mind moves. You must monitor its operations as if you were looking in from the outside. Only then will you see how your training restricts your ability to see. You'll begin to comprehend yourself and your relationship to the world in this way. It is the first step in dealing with the numerous challenges we encounter, problems that, like life itself, are always changing and evolving. Extract 2. To change the world, you must first change yourself. Consider a revolution. People are inspired to oppose injustice and band together to challenge a system that is stacked against them. They go on strike and bring everything to a standstill. They destabilize their government and the elites who benefited from the status quo. They propose a new constitution, along with a slew of new legislation aimed at making things more equitable, lifting up the oppressed, and putting a stop to violent strife. Many people see this when they hear the term change the world. Yet, according to the author, if this is what we're waiting for, nothing will ever change. The essential lesson is that in order to improve the world, you must first reform yourself. As we saw in the preceding excerpt, depending on huge concepts and great theories may obscure our ability to view the reality properly. It might also keep us from making any constructive changes. If we are constantly looking for some big revolution or spiritual shift to better the world, we will miss the true truth, which is that change comes from inside ourselves, not from elsewhere. The world is made up of numerous people interacting with one another. Rather than politics, religion, or any other major system, our issues originate at the individual level. The problem has not been produced by fascism, capitalism, or religion, but by a malfunction of the individual mind. The ego is the root source of economic disparity, conflict, and psychiatric sickness. The major issue, according to the author, is the basic construct of the individual ego, which is separated and set against everything else in the universe. As individuals, we seek various forms of power, status, and influence, and it is these desires that cause all of the issues we see around us. We cause all the chaos in the world by pursuing personal wealth. To go forward, we must, according to the author, escape from the I, or the ego. But you cannot drive yourself out of this selfish way of being merely by thinking about it. Above all, you must learn to watch the workings of your mind. So, by just paying great attention to yourself, you should be able to detect when your ego is causing you to act destructively. Extract 3. Happiness is ephemeral, and the sooner we realize this, the happier we will be. We're all looking for happiness. After all, isn't pleasure the ultimate goal of life? Happiness is the ultimate goal of whatever we do, whether it be acquired via love, a profession, or a family. The problem is that lasting happiness is difficult to come by, and it always appears to be concealed while we're seeking for it. So, what is the secret of grasping happiness? Happiness comes freely and naturally to us as children. We discover satisfaction in playing games, jogging, swimming, or the wealth of fresh experiences found in nature without even trying. Yet, as we become older, it becomes more difficult to have that type of spontaneous delight. Therefore, we pursue it via more intricate ways, like as owning another person or chasing reputation and power. The main point is that happiness is temporary, and the sooner we realize this, the happier we will be. The trouble is that once we've found what we're looking for, whether it's a partner, a gorgeous home, or a top position at a large corporation, our excitement quickly changes to dread of losing it. You may know the joy you had when you first fell in love, but you may also have a tremendous fear of that love ending or being too dependent on it. What was once simple and beautiful becomes tainted with dread and bitterness. Seeking happiness becomes something of a burden as we get older. A component of our pursuit for happiness is also a need for security, such as being held in a loving hug all the time. We desire a consistent sense of psychological well-being. Therefore, we search for it in other people's connections, such as family, marriage, and friendship. Yet the reality is that there is no such thing as long-term security. Life is short, and we are all basically alone. Even our parents, lovers, or closest friends cannot supply us with such assurance since they are also alone. So, what are the options? According to the author, the only way to avoid this letdown is to cease looking for long-term pleasure. This entails moving beyond the concept of a self that desires enjoyment to last. If you can live in the present moment, knowing that nothing lasts forever and that everything, including enjoyment, is fleeting, you will be genuinely happy. Extract 4. Intellect is not intelligence. What do we mean by intellect? The word evokes images of university dons, scientists working to solve complex problems, and straight-A students. The definition of intellect is thought functioning independently of our emotions, a kind of analytical or deductive thinking. Intellect is also something that can be trained in a particular direction. Modern education does just that, in fact. Through education, you can train your intellect to be sharper at mathematics, physics, or economics, for example. However, according to the author, if you use only your intellect, you won't gain a full understanding of the world. To engage with the world, he argues, you must use your full intelligence. The key message here is, intellect is not intelligence. So if the intellect doesn't equal intelligence, what exactly is intelligence? Well, it's the ability to feel as well as to reason, with feeling and reason existing together in harmony. A purely academic understanding of the world, then, isn't one that engages the intelligence, as it neglects feeling. How do you engage your intelligence rather than just your intellect? According to the author, you should cultivate a quiet mind. If you really want to understand something properly, whether that's a person, a painting, or a city, you must quiet your thoughts. If you rationalize and analyze with a busy mind, you'll miss the whole of something. Truth comes when you don't grapple for it. It's subtle and elusive. If you've got a loud internal monologue, it's unlikely you'll be able to perceive something in its entirety. But how exactly can you escape your thoughts? Surely that's impossible. Again, this comes through a deep awareness of your mind. You should recognize that your intellect is a product of your conditioning and education, rather than simply an instrument that reflects the truth of the matter. All of that conditioning causes you to rationalize and analyze in the way that you do. In recognizing this, you'll be able to put some distance between your intellect and the thing you're perceiving. And you might just begin to see it truthfully for the first time. Extract 5. When you're bored, you should embrace it rather than try to avoid it. You're tired of being bored. You're bored and uninspired. So, what are you going to do? You rent a movie, jog around the block, and call a friend to see if he wants to go out for a drink. And what if your entire life bores you? You change it by getting a new job, joining a cause, or traveling around the world. You try to escape the boredom. But what if this is completely incorrect? What if your boredom is telling you something deeper about yourself? If that's so, then you need to confront it and learn more about it. The main point is that when you're bored, you should embrace it rather than try to avoid it. If you're bored, it's better to try to understand it rather than run away from it. Anything else you do will be a futile attempt to alleviate your boredom. It will be nothing more than a distraction. Is simply distracting yourself a sufficient reason to do something, especially something significant? such as taking up a political cause or changing careers. No way, of course not. In fact, a lot of damage can be done this way. So take a break and be bored. It's okay. Then look into yourself and ask, why am I bored? The truth is that we have frequently become dull. We've exhausted ourselves with work, with activity, and with suffering. Then, once you've grasped the concept, you should sit with it. Don't escape it. Allow your mind to confront the fact that it is tired, bored, and out of shape. You'll be able to live with those feelings if you do this. They'll just be what they are, rather than the terrifying things that used to send you into a frenzy. If you can face your boredom and recognize it for what it is, you will begin the healing process. If you can't, you'll just keep trying to distract yourself, like a hamster on a wheel. Finally, you must understand that chasing things to avoid boredom will only lead to more boredom. You'll quickly become bored with something you've acquired, whether it's a person who interests you, a top job, or a lot of money. Understand this, and you may come to feel more at ease with yourself. Extract 6. The aim of life is life itself. What is the meaning of life? That is the multi-million-dollar question. Countless people have asked themselves this question over the decades. Philosophers, religious leaders, and gurus of all sorts have dipped their quills in ink, hunched over their manuscripts, and struggled to find a satisfying response. Several other regular folks have similarly tormented their thoughts. Perhaps you're wondering the same thing right now. According to the author, the inquiry is the incorrect place to begin. The main point is that the purpose of life is life itself. We turn to intellectuals and successful people for guidance, and we feel that by following in their footsteps, we will discover meaning. We shape our lives by drawing on the experiences of those who came before us, as well as our cultural traditions. Our thoughts are filled with many examples of life that we utilize as models for our own lives. We do all of this because we need a roadmap, a concept of what a worthwhile existence looks like. Yet we spend so much time looking for models of how life should be that we miss the essential value of what it is. Life is something that happens to us directly, personally. There is no authority that can assist you with this. If you're continually seeking for additional reason to live, you'll lose out on what's already amazing. When you ask yourself what the meaning of life is, it's likely that your existence, as it is uninteresting, tawdry, and repetitious. If you feel, for instance, that the aim of life is to find God or to become successful, then it's probably that life is something you're attempting to escape from, rather than enjoy. Rather of seeing life as the pursuit of a distant goal, it is critical to focus on what is happening right now. If you pay close attention to your life and see something wrong with it, you should try to figure out why. You may only escape your need for purpose, for assurance, by addressing your perplexity, sadness, or fear. Life is extremely rich, fascinating, and lovely in and of itself, and existence should be sufficient in and of itself. Final summary. The key message in these extracts. No revolution or vast political philosophy will fix the issues you see around you. The only way to transform the world is to start with yourself. Realize that your conditioning prevents you from seeing the world clearly. This implies you'll have preconceived notions about important things, such as the significance of happiness in your life or psychological stability. That will lead to disappointment if you can't see past your indoctrination. Eventually, life is remarkable enough as it is. Meaning is unneeded. Actionable advice. Examine your own thoughts and take notice of your programming. Pause the next time you have a strong opinion about something, whether political or personal. Then attempt to think about why you could have formed that conclusion. What about you? Your cultural and economic background, nationality, or sexual orientation may have influenced that opinion. Does this cause you to reconsider your position? Are you able to see the other side? Could you even be wrong?
Got feedback? We'd love to hear from you about our content. Just share your thoughts and book recommendations in the comments section, and be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about the latest extracts. Thank you and have a great day.